If you're a team that is picking towards the top of the NFL draft and need a quarterback, this is the draft for you. At number 1, there's no debate. It's a near lock that the Jacksonville Jaguars will select Trevor Lawrence. He's been called by many as the best quarterback prospect to enter the draft since Andrew Luck.
Lawrence looks downfield, going to throw it downfield. Got Rodgers open. Touchdown, Clemson.
What a perfect throw.
After Lawrence, however, there is some debate. Zach Wilson saw his draft stock skyrocket after a phenomenal 2020 season and is firmly in play for the Jets at number 2. Mac Jones led Alabama to the national championship and completed 77% of his passes in the process.
Touchdown, Alabama, Mac Jones.
The only question with Jones is, how will he look without elite teammates all around him? And then there's Justin Fields, who didn't quite put up the same numbers as he did in 2019. But as he showed on New Year's Day versus Clemson,
His 6th touchdown pass of the night.
he has a tantalizing skill set and just might be scratching the surface of his potential. And lastly, you have the biggest mystery of the draft in Trey Lance. His 2019 season was basically flawless, accounting for 42 touchdowns and no picks. In 2020, he only played in one game, where he was a little up and down.
The Picasso, the creation of Trey Lance.
You're likely to hear all 5 of these names called on day 1 of the NFL draft. But where they land after the first pick is anyone's guess.
Giddy up. Quarterbacks ranked by Ryan Wilson in this draft, and Ryan Wilson's done close to 25 mocks already. Trevor Lawrence, number 1, no question. There you have Zach Wilson at number 2. I find it interesting that Wilson and Mac Jones are ahead of Justin Fields. I think that would be really surprising if you just go back a month or 2. There were many saying that Fields should be number 2, right behind Trevor Lawrence. Maybe with 1A and 1B. That's not the case according to Ryan right now. All right, so let's talk quarterbacks. We've got Pete Prisco here. Let's start with Trevor Lawrence, Pete. Best quarterback prospect since who? Andrew Luck?
Well, yes, he's the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck. And some people will say, okay, well, let's slow it down. Let's go back to last year when Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert were in that draft. Well, he's better than both those guys going into it. I'm not saying right now he's going to end up being better than them, better than they were as rookies. But right now, as an evaluation, he's a better prospect than those 2 guys are. He's the clear number 1 in this draft. But we're getting the silly season. That's what this time of the year is. It becomes paralysis by analysis. Somebody will leak something out to somebody and say, oh no, Zach Wilson's closing in on him. Don't be so sure that it's not a closer race than you think. That's not true. Guys I talked to, clear number 1, Trevor Lawrence, and there's no debate about it. And Jacksonville should race that card to the podium. In fact, they should start negotiating with him before the draft even starts. He should, and he will be their pick.
Jacksonville Jaguars picking number 1, Trevor Lawrence, 99.9% chance that he will go to Jacksonville at number 1 at Urban Meyer's first draft pick. Zach Wilson, the number 2 ranked quarterback according to Ryan Wilson. Is this just Wilson bias here, or you think Zach Wilson deserves that number 2 spot, Pete?
No, he's the number 2 quarterback, and I went back and watched 4 of his games last week, and I came away impressed. There's a lot to like about him. He has a real interesting way of throwing the football. He's not a lot like Patrick Mahomes in that way. He throws on all levels. He's off schedule a lot, and he does make plays with his legs. But he's only 6'1", and you can see that. He's not a big guy, but he's plenty athletic enough. He's plenty good enough, and that arm, he can rip it. So there's a lot to like about Zach Wilson, but he's not Trevor Lawrence. And for anybody out there saying that, you're misguided. One is 6'6" and can do all the things that the 6'1" guy can do. Why would you even look at it from that standpoint? So, yeah, Trevor Lawrence 1, Zach Wilson 2, but I think there's a clear separation between the 2 of them.
Big drop-off, according to Pete Prisco, from Lawrence to Wilson, and I'm guessing that most people would agree with you there. How about Mac Jones at number 3 ahead of Justin Fields?
Yeah, this surprises me a little bit, but the reason it surprises me is Mac Jones is a pure pocket passer. And, you know, I love pure pocket passers. We've seen Tom Brady. He won a Super Bowl. He's a pure pocket passer. Peyton Manning. But the game is getting away from that a little bit. It's, you know, guys who can do things off schedule, and Mac Jones doesn't. He's not one of those guys that's going to create plays with his legs outside the pocket. And that's concerning to some of the scouts I talked to. Is he a product of the system? Look, his numbers were better than Tua's last year. He threw to big-time wide receivers, and so his offensive line was very good. So everybody will ping him for that. But he stepped in, and he's smart, and he's accurate. He knows where to go with the football. So I get it from playing in the pocket type of standpoint. He'd be perfect for the New England Patriots, I think. But a lot of teams are looking for a quarterback who can make plays off schedule. He is not that guy.
Okay, how about Justin Fields, and a guy who I think there were some people that would have argued a couple of months ago that you could put him right up there with Trevor Lawrence. It seems like his stock is sliding a bit. Why is that?
You know, it's weird. His stock is sliding, and he had the great game against Clemson in the playoffs. And you would think, okay, you know, big time, show up, show out against a good team. But still, I think more people are going back and doing the evaluation on him. And what they're seeing is there were games where he struggled in a big way. There are also coaches and personnel people out there who think he has a tendency to stay on his primary too long. Maybe that's because it's a product of the system, a product offense, and usually in the Big Ten, when you're Ohio State, your guys are wide open, or they get open and you try to stay on them too long. He does do that. Watching him on tape, he does do that. He doesn't get this 2 and 3 as quickly as he can. But he's much more athletic than Mac Jones. He can get outside the pocket. He can run. He can create with his legs. And that's going to be enticing to a lot of teams. So I'd probably flip that. I'd probably put Justin Fields ahead of Mac Jones.
Look, I can't imagine some people aren't thinking of, okay, Justin Fields, Dwayne Haskins didn't fare too well. Trey Lance and Carson Wentz didn't fare too well. Is that a thing, and is that going to be an issue for not just Justin Fields, but for Trey Lance, who's the number 5 ranked quarterback?
Yeah, I hate that. I hate when you say, okay, well, he came from school there, and their linebackers haven't played well on the next level, so let's not count on them. You got to take them each individually. It's unfair to the player. It's unfair to Justin Fields to compare him to Dwayne Haskins. I just believe that's not the type of situation that you should use to kind of compare a guy to one to another. So, no, I don't buy that. As far as Trey Lance, he just doesn't have a lot of games. He didn't play a lot of football. There was one this year. There wasn't a lot before that. And so, yeah, there's a lot of raw talent. And I got a bunch of his tape. I'm going to dive into it in the next couple days. And I want to see what he has to offer. I want to see what Trey Lance can do. Because in the games I did watch, there was a lot to like. He's a big, strong, physical kid who can get outside the pocket and create with his legs, and he's got a strong arm. But again, level of competition matters. It didn't matter for Carson Wentz, or did it? And again, didn't play a lot of football. Guys look, and I've talked to GMs over the years, and they always want a resume, a big, thick resume. They want guys who have played in college. If you don't play in college, why not? What happened? What's the reason? So I think that's something to keep an eye on as well.
All right, Pete Prisco, thank you. Breaking down Ryan Wilson's top 5 quarterbacks. This is Ryan Wilson's latest mock draft, a brand new one coming out on Tuesday. Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.